Welcome back, everybody, to the Crestline portion of tonight's Coach's Corner East. We are live at the Pizza Hut here in Gallion on this Wednesday, September 15th. So glad that you joined us. And our show is brought to you in part by Lou Plymel and Brad Seibert at the Plymel Insurance Group, Gallion and Bucyrus, North Central State College, Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center, North Walnut Street, across from the courthouse in Bucyrus. Phil and Shoe Shrek at Phil's Deli, just east of the Pizza Hut, here in Gallion at the Bridge. And I'm pleased to welcome assistant coach Gerry Wright to the microphone tonight of the Crestline Bulldogs, and welcome aboard. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Coach King tied up this evening and asked you to fill in, and that's always welcomed and glad to have you aboard. Last week, Coach King came in and I was all ready to talk about Ridgemont and had my Fast Times at Ridgemont High joke ready to go, and he said right before we went on air, "We're not playing Ridgemont, they canceled." And I'm like, okay, what's the deal? We're going to Strasburg, down in Tuscarawas County, a school that I'm familiar with, the Black and Orange Tigers. My alma mater, Rittman, had played them certainly in basketball. Not sure that we ever played them in football, but familiar with their surroundings, the fact that the stadium is at a community park as opposed to the high school, and know that area quite well. And you travel down there, a very scenic drive, but the end result wasn't what you wanted. Strasburg, who had gone into the game 0-3, got their first win and defeated you 46-0, and you now sit at 0-3 as well. And tough to find any statistics or any comments or anything like that. Tell us a little bit about what happened in that game on Friday.
Yeah, so it was pretty close through the first quarter, 6-0. We got there real late anyway, so our guys were kind of down a little bit. We didn't get a lot of practice time in before the game. Came out okay. 5 minutes left to go in the second quarter, and the wheels just fell off, and they got one quick score after another. By the time it was halftime, we were down 30-something-0. So come back out, running clock, couldn't get anything started on offense still. So
were they more of a passing team, running team, or were they fairly balanced?
It was balanced, I would say. I mean, they ran the ball certainly. They had a couple passes on us. We tried to man up on them, and we were just getting beat with a whip route, and so just didn't have the ability to cover everybody all the time.
Were they extremely big up front, or just really good skill, or not necessarily either?
They compared to us. I thought it was a comparable game. They weren't overly good at either thing, but at the end of the day, they executed and we didn't.
Yeah, for sure. And when we were off the air last week, I was talking to Coach King, and I said, man, I mean, and you know, Strasburg had to do the same thing, but when you make a change in who you're going to play on Wednesday afternoon, all of a sudden, because he had told me it's going to be a late night because we got to put a game plan in. We had a game plan going for Ridgemont, and all of a sudden we got to switch gears, and they had to do the same thing. But And I know you and your coaches and players would never make excuses, but how difficult is that to really switch gears when Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, you're thinking one thing, and all of a sudden Wednesday you're saying, hold on guys, we got to do something different now.
Certainly it's a challenge. I don't think that we changed up our game plan too much. Ironically, our defense that we had planned to play didn't have to be adjusted too much to what they were trying to do. I do feel like it was kind of just desserts though, because we did the same thing the last week against Plymouth. So right. Certainly we were put in a bind, but many teams are this year.
Yeah, it is, and again, no excuses. It is what it is, and if we want to get young people games, you got to do what you got to do, and we see it every week now. It's happening. Lucas was out of a game until today, and they finally picked somebody up. They're going to be playing Lakewood out of Cuyahoga County, in a suburb of Cleveland. They're going to come down to Lucas, and you know them. They'll play just about anybody. Sure. That's just kind of their mentality. Despite the 46-0 loss, did you see any progress on either side of the ball where things are starting to click a little bit? Things are starting to come.
Yeah, I think we did find a new defensive lineman out of the game. So Blake here started or played at the nose guard position, did a really great job, and we're going to keep him down there. We're actually going to try a new thing out and put him on the offensive line too. Good. So we're really just trying to find a combination of guys that works up front to make sure that we can get the ball moved.
Yeah, very good. And I know you had brought some new folks in, and Coach was talking about getting them acclimated, getting them up to speed. From a kind of a conditioning standpoint? Is it starting to get there for them? Are they starting to get up to game speed, or is it still a little behind? Or maybe should I ask Blake that question?
I ran them pretty hard on Monday. Coach King was busy with some athletic director duties, and we had a good hard physical practice, and we drove the sled maybe an hour. Mm-hmm. It was a good long time, and then we did some 100-meter rushes and sprints, and we kept going, and there was some throw up on the sideline, but it was a good throw up, and everybody kind of jumped on the bandwagon trying to get everybody to keep on going.
You mentioned that hour on the sled, and I kind of looked out of the corner of my eye at Finnegan down here, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." I don't really want to do that again. So it certainly made an impression. So what's been the biggest focus in practice this week?
Trying to gel the up front guys. Hunter's back he was out on COVID last week, and today at practice he got a sprained ankle, so we'll see if we have him for Friday. Lots of moving pieces. Our starting center from the last 3 weeks is out. This week he's sick. So we don't know if we're going to have him, and it's really just trying to get these guys up front to really congeal together, and so we can get back to what we want to do in our power game.
Okay, very good. And I was going to ask you about the health of the team, but you already pretty much covered that. So, and when you're limited numbers, you just got to plug and play.
Yep,
you just got to go with what you have. So, very good. We'll take a quick break here before we talk to the young men around the table, and I want to remind everybody the show is brought to you in part by Steve Kurtzman and Associates at Innovative Recycling, 352 South Street, Galleon. Candy Bolin at Bolin Realty, 2 blocks west of the Uptown Galleon Square. And John Cross at Cross Carpet and Custom Floors, 302 North Seltzer Street, downtown Crestline. First up, we have junior Aidan Rogers. And Aidan, Coach had mentioned that a little late to the party, so to speak, when you got to Strasburg. The bus didn't stop at Incarceration, that rock concert over in Mansfield or anything, did it?
No, it did not.
No, it wasn't any issue there. You just kept rolling down. Does that, mentally, what does that do to you and your other teammates? Because I can tell you what, as an official for 20 years, and oddly enough, I still have this dream. I will have this recurring dream that I showed up to a game late, and it's like Panic City, because I know I was supposed to be there an hour and a half before the game. Did that do anything to you guys mentally and kind of set a poor tone?
Yeah, I think mentally it's good to get reps in before the game and get your head in the game, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Get in that game mode and ready to go. And when things are rushed, it doesn't always work out so well. Again, not the result. You've been shut out 2 games in a row. Your offense hasn't put any points on the board. Where's the bright spot for the line and the backs as well?
I think we're all slowly improving, trying to get everything together. I mean, we have moving pieces, like Coach Wright said, so trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, it's kind of trial by fire, and you don't have the luxury of you have to do it through practice and you have to do it through reps. Nothing can replace that, and you just have to get better week after week. So you have a game this week with Upper Scioto Valley, a team that's 3-1. Can you get better against them?
I think it just comes down to that we got to get the job done.
Just have to do your work, put the work in, do your 111th. All right, well, good luck this week. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Blake Guiber is here, a senior. Blake, I appreciate you coming out, and you must have been one that was started with the program a little late. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so now in hindsight, and how many games have you gotten in?
One.
One. Is there kind of that thing that said, man, I should have been there the first couple games, or is that just it's in the past and you can't do anything about it?
I wish I played my whole high school career now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're getting a great experience, and Coach sang your praises, put you in at nose guard. What did you think of that, being right over top of the center? And
I loved it.
What did you like most about that?
Just busting through the line and going to get the quarterback or the running back.
How good was their center?
He was all right. He was certainly bigger than me.
Uh-huh. But you shot the A gap and was able to get through. Did you do some damage behind the line of scrimmage?
I had a couple tackles for loss, and I blocked a punt.
Oh, did you really? Good for you. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
So now, going into after your first week of playing, your first game, what have you focused on in practice, and can Friday come soon enough for you?
I've kind of just focused on getting better, like blocking and swim moving and ripping through and stuff. And I'm ready for Friday.
Ready to go.
Yep.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming out. Continued success for you.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Jake Bruce is with us as well. Jake is a junior. Good to have you back. And I know it's just a pizza. You'd rather eat that than talk to me, but you got to talk to me first, Jake, okay?
All right, I'll try.
Last time you were here, you talked about maybe using you offensively a little bit. Has that transitioned, or are we still kind of waiting to unload that package on somebody?
Well, I did move back down to the line. I am now left guard.
Okay. Is that hard for you when, you say, well, this week we're going to have you here, but next week we're going to have you here? Or are you just kind of used to that and you say, hey, it is what it is?
I am kind of used to that. It's fun moving around, learning new positions, but for the most of the time, I practice on the line.
Is there something that, kind of a comfort zone? We're all kind of creatures of habit, and we say we like change until change comes on, and then we say we don't like change very much. We want to kind of be in our nice, neat little box. By staying in one position, do you feel a little more comfortable?
Oh, absolutely. I played guard for years, so that's definitely where I'm most comfortable at.
Upper Scioto Valley, 3-1 coming in. You're going to be home, which is a good thing for sure. But they're pretty formidable. What are you going to have to do to kind of shut them down and slow them down?
We're going to have to play our hearts out. Like, everybody will have to do their job for us to stay in the game.
All right. Well, good luck, and hope you get a big win.
Thank you for having me tonight.
You bet. Welcome back, Finnegan. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. It's good to have you aboard again, and good to see you again. Long bus rides aren't a lot of fun, and then to have things happen like they happened, boy, oh boy, not a good thing. But what can you take away as a kind of a golden nugget to say, hey, it's just one game, and we got to kind of forget about that?
I think just the fact that we got more people, more playing time, and other people more breaks is a good thing to take away from it.
Yeah. It's a team that you don't normally see. Now you're going to do a league game. Do you like the league game? I mean, I know you're just a freshman. This is your first experience at varsity football, but does a league make a little more sense than playing these teams that are obscure, that you really never hear of?
I think so, because we're going to continue to play these teams for the next couple of years rather than just play a one-off game.
Yeah, for sure. Big weekend in Crestline kicks off tomorrow. We won't talk about the Harvest Festival. You guys can worry about that on Saturday. But the fact that you're home, it sounds like it's going to be good weather. There should be a lot of people around because they're all coming to support community. Does that kind of help push you guys over the edge a little bit because you want to perform well for your home crowd?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to help us to just show out and hopefully get a win.
Yeah, and you can worry about running around uptown on Saturday. That'll take care of itself. Well, good luck to you. Thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. You bet. Next up, we have Wyatt Cheney. How are you, Wyatt? Good. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but it's just not turning out offensively. Where do the biggest strides have to come from your offense to start putting points on the board and kind of push these other teams' defenses to say, we got to defend this?
Definitely the line up front, get more push. And once you get more push, the running backs hit their gaps.
And there's confidence that comes with that. I mean, we talked to Gallion tonight. They threw 2 passes the whole game, and they wore down the defensive line, and they just imposed their will on River Valley's defensive line. And when you can start to do that, you can see it in their eyes that things aren't going really well, and it just breeds more confidence. What have you done in practice to kind of get that mentality, to get that mindset going this week?
We've had more people to be in front of the actual block, so we have better reads.
Okay, all right. How's your health personally? You feel pretty good shape right now?
I feel pretty good.
All right, not too banged up? No, okay.
No.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for coming out. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Finally, we have Hunter Ferrell. Hi, Hunter. I pronounced that correct, or is it Ferrell?
Ferrell.
Ferrell. Why did I? Maybe I'm thinking about something like isn't there a rapper called Pharrell or something like that?
I don't know.
You're not into rap music. Right. We'll leave that for other people. But Hunter, you're a sophomore position that you're playing on the team?
I just recently moved to left tackle on offense, thanks to Jake here.
Mm-hmm.
And defense, I'm nose guard.
Okay. And the people that are watching, or when you can watch on YouTube, You got crutches with you. What did you do?
Today at practice, at the end of a drill, I kind of stumbled backwards and stepped wrong on my leg.
Any word on if that'll keep you out for Friday, or is it too early to tell at this point?
I'm supposed to go get an x-ray after this to make sure it's not broken or anything.
Mm-hmm. Certainly you don't want to miss any opportunities, because anytime you miss a game, that's just 1/10, or at least where we are at this point, 1/9, depending on what the rest of the season does. That you don't get an opportunity to be out there with your brothers. So what could you do? Let's assume that you can't go, and I hope that's not the case, but what can you do the rest of the week of practice to get your guys ready to go?
We can make sure I'm at practice, supporting them and helping them get through the practice, and just making sure they're doing everything the way they're supposed to.
When you look at the group, and even though it hasn't had success in the win column yet, are you close? Are you getting closer?
Yeah, I feel like we're all getting closer, spending as much time as we do together, even in school.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. Well, good luck this week. I hope you can play. I hope those crutches won't be following you around, and certainly that it's not a serious injury, and I appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Take one final break here before we finish up with the Crestline Bulldogs. Our show is brought to you in part by Terry Gribble and Associates at your Galleon Community Center, YMCA, Dr. Erica Schieber at Bucyrus Veterinary Service, 222 West Mary Street, Bucyrus. Rod Steiger and Associates at Pizza Hut here in Galleon and Bucyrus, our host since 1992. And Luann Krebs of River's Edge Embroidery, Screen Printing and Signs, sponsor of our phone board t-shirts that are out and available. Make sure you pick yours up. Gerry Wright, assistant coach at Crestline, is back with us, and as I mentioned, 3-1 Upper Scioto Valley coming to Hudson this week. Their head coach is Dustin Price, and they got a big win over Waynesfield Goshen last week, 26-7. They've won 3 straight games after losing their first game. They're putting up a lot of points, 31.5 points per game. They're only giving up about 15.3. Are they more of a running team, passing team, balanced?
They like to run the ball. Yeah, it's inside, outside, wherever they can run it. They run a bone package, and then they have a wing with a tight end, and they're up the middle, outside. Occasionally they throw it. They're about 50% passing on completion. So when they do throw it, it's a good likelihood that they're going to catch it too. So, but most of the time they run the ball.
When they do throw, is it mostly short underneath stuff, or will they take their shot when they need to?
They do take their shot when they need to. They have a nice little toss pass that they do, and they set it up well. They do a lot of play action. They set you up, and then they just lazily, I would say, run down the field, and then, oh no, this guy's open, let me toss him the ball.
Okay. Well, it is a home game. I'm sure it's good to be home and not a real long bus ride. What are, in your opinion, the overall keys to success this week for the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I think we have to really find our heart. We have to want to win the game, and I think some of us have it, and some of us are still finding that. Why are we playing the game? The why in our lives right now, and once we find that and we really put our heads to it, then we have a good shot at winning the ball game.
Yeah.
We have some good players, and I like to tell them, not everybody's Jake Bruce, but we're not far from it. He's got the mentality of a football player, and we've got to find that in everybody.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great statement, and that's the one thing that, over the years, despite the fact that there's not as many wins as you would like, Coach King, you guys have and players have always showed up. They've never made excuses. This is just the way it is, and you don't sugarcoat it. It is what it is, but it's that mentality. It's a mindset, and I think the term that you used is so key. It's a want to, and that doesn't happen just on the athletic field. That happens in the classroom. Do you want to study and do you want to do well in the classroom, or do you just kind of slough by? And that translates right over into sports as well. So I think it's a great correlation there, and I certainly appreciate you bringing that up for sure, and wish you and the Bulldogs great success this week.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming out. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Coming up on WTEL right now, the Indians in Minneapolis against the Minnesota Twins. Tomorrow we have the Ryan Day show. That will be at 6:05 as the Buckeyes look to bounce back as they host Tulsa this weekend. Friday night, it'll be Cam Moon in the opening drive at 6:30. Your quick preview of all things high school football in the area. 7 o'clock on WQEL, it'll be Colonel Crawford at Upper Sandusky. And then our game of the week on WBCO, it'll be Buckeye Central at Winford. Davy Jones, Friday night phone board to follow at approximately 9 p.m. On Saturday, as I mentioned, Ohio State football, they'll take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane from Columbus, Ohio. Coverage begins at 2 o'clock, kickoff right around 3:30. And then we have Cleveland Indians baseball coming up this Sunday. They will be in the Bronx to take on the New York Yankees. Coverage begins at 12:35. Special thanks to everyone here at our Pizza Hut, especially our manager tonight, Michelle Burris. Thank you to Aniana, who was our server tonight. Thank you, Danny Lane, back at the station, for taking care of me. And here at Pizza Hut, Cam Moon and Harper Boggs certainly appreciate you as well. Thank you to Galleon football coach Matt Dick and his players, Colonel Crawford assistant coach Jake Bruner and his players, and Crestline assistant coach Gerry Wright and his players as well. Thank you to our sponsors, and most of all, you for tuning in on Facebook Live. For WQL Sports, this has been Mike Sparks reminding you, a spirit with a vision is a dream with a mission. Have a good night, everybody.